What is a unique game you played as a child? We were inadvertent LARPERS. My friend lived on a mini farm. They had chickens, llamas, and goats, and his mom would make up Ziploc bags of Monopoly money and hide them all over the place. We would go out and fight imaginary bad guys and find the bags of money so we could upgrade our gear. I was the cleric, so I started with a staff which I upgraded to silver, duct tape on the ends, then later to metal. We hammered Mountain Dew cans as metal end pieces. We made suits of armor out of cardboard boxes which we upgraded similarly. The best was the road by his house. It was the river. And whenever a car would go by, it would represent some sahags, water monsters, jumping out. So we would come flying out of the bushes and start swinging our homemade weapons like crazy people. It was the early 90s in the middle of nowhere. Elevator, someone would go into the furnace room, shut the door, and they were in the elevator. The rest of us would rearrange the family room and bring in different props to demonstrate that we were on a different floor. We changed outfits, accents. We played this for a good year. My sister and I created the Slug Wars. Basically, two combatants got backwards into a sleeping bag so their feet were hanging out of the head hole. Then, you blindly battled to the death. Great times. My cousin and I were convinced that his neighbor's house has diamonds in the garden. We found a bunch of shiny diamond-shaped things in their yard scattered in random places. We used to dig up the dirt hoping no one would notice to find more of these diamonds. I think we found 10 and we split them in half. We would come back again and again looking for them. We made a promise not to tell any other kids or our parents about them. One day my mom found one of my diamonds in the pocket of my trousers and asked me if she should throw it. I was shocked. Why would she throw away an expensive diamond? Turns out, they were glass teardrop pieces of an old chandelier they threw away. I was so disappointed because we even planned to buy a Lamborghini with the money. We would take Dad's snuff can full of rocks and tape it shut. Then we all faced the same way as a designated person threw the can way out in the open pasture at night. All players set out to find it, and if you picked it up and made it back to the finish line, it was a point. The rocks were audible if shaken. If you were able to tackle the runner before he crossed the line, no point and rethrow. First to 5 wins or first to break a bone loses. We made up a game called Tomahawk Tag. Basically hide and seek, but it would have to be in the dark. And you have to have a camera. If you spot someone, you have to take a picture of them with a flash on. If they are in the picture, they get caught and they are out. My brother and I would throw a bouncy ball at the stairs and then try to be the first to track it down. This kept us busy for hours. It's not what it sounds like, but my cousin and I used to play the underwear game. We would go into her laundry room, which was in the basement with ample room, and both of us would grab someone's used underwear from the hamper. Then we'd fight each other trying to get the underwear over the other's head. Obviously it was disgusting and had to stop when someone caught us playing it. My cousin and I used to play witches. We basically made like a million poems about wishing harm on everyone we hate and would run around in the forest cursing them. We also did more wholesome stuff, like picking up twigs and leaves to put in our potion pots. The potions were also usually to curse people though. We didn't really have a name for it. But when we were on the playground for recess in elementary school, we would play this game where one of us would go about halfway down the tube slide, where it's just like one big hollow tube like what you'd see at a big water park. Just not as big obviously. And then someone else would slide down as fast as they could and try to dislodge the first dude. Usually he would fail. Then another would come down and try to dislodge the first 2 guys. Then another. Until Big Mikey would come down and we would all fly out the bottom of the slide like a freshly unclogged pipe. This was because Big Mikey was like 5 times bigger than any of the other 3rd graders. Oh yeah, I think we actually called it Clog the Pipe, which sounds pretty gay now that I'm recalling it as an adult. Spotlight. It is basically hide and go seek, but with key differences. We would don dark clothing and slash or camouflage, hide in the forest at night and then wait to be sought out / tracked by the person who was it. Tons of fun. I'm a camp counselor and we play a game called Screaming Toes with our kids. We get in a circle and pick someone in the group's toes to stare at. Someone counts to 3 and on 3 you look at the person whose toes you were staring at. If that person was looking at your toes too, you both scream and you're both out. The kids love it. We used to play E.T. in the playground. We'd run about acting out scenes from the film. I had a brown parka, so invariably I'd get to be the lovable alien. Great times. Oh man, I remember this fondly. When I was 8 or so, my brother, I, and my best friend played the Dark Man game. It was hide and seek in my parents' basement with the lights out. The person looking for the other two wore a glow-in-the-dark skeletor mask, so the two people hiding could see him, but he couldn't see us. It got really intense at times, trying to find your way in the dark and trying to be as quiet as possible. Also, my parents' basement was unfinished, so occasionally you'd bump into a nail, etc. Made it extra dangerous. LOL. We would play baseball in the street but with a tennis racket so we could blast the ball all over the neighborhood. Used to play Get Down Mr. President with my mates every now and then. Basically one of us would start the game by placing our hand to our ear, like we were Secret Service. Last one to realize is Mr. President and we all dogpile him. Island of the Blue Dolphins inspired by the book. I'd build a little hut in the living room and collect abalone from the beach, they were shoes, and fight off packs of wild dogs played by stuffed animals. I'd make sure to spend a good portion of the day staring wistfully out towards the sea and weep for my dead brother and my people. My actual brother would try to play with me but I'd be like, no, you can't. You're dead. I'd read the book every summer and get inspired to play again. The wolves in the trees belong to me. 3RD/4TH grade. I had a wolf pack that lived in the forest near my school. Keep in mind that the forest was a line of 5-10 short pine trees in a line. The wolf pack was my pack and they all listened to me. And the popular girls would get so mad that they didn't have wolves. So I'd let them borrow a wolf for recess in exchange for coveted silvery pencils and erasers in the shape of fruit. As an older sister of a brother, I didn't get the chance to be a girly girl. I became obsessed with G.I. Joe. So my brother and I used to play that and go on missions all the time. And my dad's in the military so we had all kinds of army stuff to wear. LOL. I'm still kind of obsessed with the Baroness. I put some books on the floor, and I jumped on them while trying not to touch the floor. A variant of the floor is lava. We used to play Tomahawk Tag with a Nerf foam tomahawk. It was just tag but you could throw it and nail someone with it. In gym class occasionally we were allowed to play this game called line tag. Essentially, everyone would have to stay and move along the gym floor basketball/volleyball lines and the 1 or 2 people who were assigned to beat it would have to run along the lines to tag people. If you were tagged, you had to sit down on the line where you were tagged, becoming a roadblock for other people. Love that game. My grandpa had a bunch of old tires in his backyard. I liked to stack them and make a Batmobile out of them. My friend and I would rule Gotham backyard every day. Shake Shake Shampoo. Like a game of tag but instead of being it after getting tagged you're immobilized and have to wait until the it gets to immobilize everyone. When the last free person gets tagged everyone shouts Viva while raising their hand. Last person to shout it becomes it. So it's called Shake Shake Shampoo because you have to shake your hips and run your hand through your hair as if you're shampooing it when you get tagged. Being the first one to get tagged sucks because you'll have to shake your hips till the end. We play Ghost. One person is under a sheet trying to catch everyone else and all the lights are off. Usually takes place in the living room so people are jumping around on furniture. There may have been 1 or 2 concussions because of this game. LOL. Wall ball. You throw a tennis ball against a wall and if someone else catches it you're out. If you touch it twice and don't catch it you're out. If it hits you and you don't touch the wall before the next throw hits it, you're out. Whenever I had sleepovers at my house, we would play a game at night that was a mix of hide and go seek and reverse tag, where one person would go hide in the yard and the other kids would go out with flashlights and try to find them. And once you found him, you had to tag him. If the kid hiding couldn't be found or he made it inside the garage, he won. It used to be that he had to physically be brought down and held to the ground, but we had to stop playing like that when one kid ended up with a broken nose. Polar bear tag. We had a fairly shallow inflatable backyard pool, bigger than a kiddie pool. Whoever was the polar bear had to navigate the pool by walking on their hands and knees while trying to catch the penguins. Peanut butter jelly race. Think of it as a variation of red light, green light. One person would call out peanut butter or jelly. On peanut butter, the others would have to trudge around slowly as if they were stuck knee-deep in a pool of peanut butter. On jelly, they would zip around and fumble as if on a slippery, jelly-coated floor. The first one to reach the end won. Children are weird and creative, and it's honesty the best. When all three of my siblings were still young children, I'm the big brother of the family. We had a game where I'd do what was basically improv comedy for them. Kinda like SNL or Mad TV. They'd sit on the edge of the bed, and I'd perform using props and my imagination. I had one bit where I'd use mega blocks to create a crude handgun, and pretend I'm a cop. When I'd shout freeze, and draw my pistol, the gun's pieces would fly apart, leaving me with just the grip and a stunned look on my face. It slayed them every time. They'd just burst into laughter and tears. We played this mix of Lego Ninjago and Minecraft on the playground every day. Herobrine would attack our base and we would have to defend it from his forces with our elemental powers and our talking dog with a shape-shifting watch. My friends and I had a brick wall in the playground, and we used to pretend we were all spies in an airplane while sitting on this brick wall. We'd execute maneuvers which were actually just us all leaning side to side. And I'd sit at the front, the leftmost seat on the wall, and pretend to be the pilot. And there would be enemy spies and moles who would double-cross us. And invariably we would have to either jump out the airplane or do a crash landing. It was awesome.